You are listening to The Real Men Feel Show with your hosts Andy Grant and Appio Hunter. Real Men Feel encourages men to allow and express all of their emotions. Despite what you may have been taught, all emotions do serve you. Real Men Feel is committed to engaging in discussions that most men aren't having, but you don't need to be a man to join us. The Real Men Feel Show is produced live each Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern for your growth and enjoyment. Listen to us on podcast platforms including iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. You can also watch the show on YouTube by visiting realmenfeel.org/YouTube. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe on iTunes by visiting realmenfeel.org/iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at realmenfeelorg and on Facebook, facebook.com/realmenfeelshow. All links mentioned in each episode are in the show notes found on the blog at realmenfeel.org. Show your support for Real Men Feel by shopping at realmenfeel.org/swag, by visiting digitaltipjar.com/realmenfeel, or even text us a tip. You can show some love for Real Men Feel by texting Real Men Feel, that's all one word, to 504-226-5306. You'll receive a link back to complete your tip and choose the amount. This is a weekly program, and your reviews, comments, feedback, and participation are welcome during the live show and anytime in our Facebook group, on Twitter, or at realmenfeel.org. Now, let's dive into this week's show.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Real Men Feel. This is your host, Andy Grant, and tonight is going to be an exciting show. We are diving into a topic we have never addressed before, and it took a lot of effort to actually find some people willing to come discuss this secretive topic. But first of all, let me introduce and welcome my co-host, who's fearless to all topics, Mr. Appio Hunter.
Hey, Andy. Good to be here tonight.
Yeah, psyched. Glad you're here. So what we're talking about tonight, I wanted to invite some men on to talk about their support for the president, calling it praising the president or trumpeting Trump, whatever, however you want to phrase it. But as I reached out to some of my own friends who are actively on social media talking about the president and being supportive of him, they weren't willing to come do it in this sort of public forum. They weren't willing to really be seen. And I can get that. There's some nervousness about speaking and being seen and all that, regardless of the topic. So I had to reach out to friends of friends, and initially I talked to three gentlemen that were ready to come on. One changed his mind today, the day of the show, and it was mostly nerves, having second thoughts about being seen with this topic. And I was surprised in talking to the three guys that did agree to come. Each of them talked about that they didn't feel they were safe to talk about supporting the president, and they were really. I had to really promise them that this was a safe space, and that's why the public has not been invited. There's no one else here, so we didn't put out masks. Nobody knows that this show is happening at this time, so that this is a safe place to just share their views. We're not here to. It's not a debate. It's not a bashing. It's not a blindside. It's not anything like that. So that kind of sets up the background. So let's introduce who did make it, who is willing to be seen and be heard. And first we have Buddy joining us from New Hampshire.
Hey, how's it going, Andy? Thank you for asking me to be here.
I'm very glad. I'm excited you can make it, and I'm glad you have your chair collection. I just noticed that behind you.
I'm actually at my store right now, so I own a thrift store. So
oh, cool.
If you need chairs or bureaus, I'll just throw a plug out there.
Go for it.
Do it.
Politicize the whole event tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also joining us, we have Tony from Arizona.
How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Very good. And I just want to point out that Buddy and Tony, you don't know each other.
Right. No.
No,
okay.
Not until tonight.
Beautiful. And Appio, you don't know either of these guys as well.
Nope. First time meeting them. And I'm glad to meet you guys, too.
Likewise. Thank you.
Long-lost family.
Yeah, exactly. Just before the show started, we were talking about how our moms are from Brazil originally. And so it definitely started going off on a tangent there. But oh, by the way, Tony, I just have to show you this really quick. Recognize that?
Oh.
I just held up a can of Guaraná, which for folks who are familiar with Guaraná, it's a soft drink from Brazil. And so I always have a stash at my house. So.
I thought it was from Antarctica. Isn't it that what it says?
That's the brand. It is
Oh, okay.
Guatemala, Antarctica, but yes.
In Guatemala and Antarctica just sit right next to each other, right?
Right? Exactly.
All right, so to get back to the show, it's going to be often derailed, I think. Now, Buddy and Tony, you both shared with me privately, and then I wanted to get this on the show, that you don't feel that there's a place where you can go and talk about how you support the president. So would either of you guys like to just jump into that and verify that or not?
Well, right off the bat, I can tell you that whenever we get into any kind of discussion, there's no discussion. It's immediate, name calling, racist, all the cards get thrown out immediately. And so there's no discussion. That's it. That's the end of it right there.
Okay. Buddy, is that your experience as well?
Yeah, I just feel like the art of conversation has been lost. People now want to debate with name calling and insults, and so it's just not worth the time or the energy if you're not going to get anything out of it. I'm huge when it comes to wanting to listen to people's opinions and understand other mindsets, if you will. But the whole, literally attacking people because of their view or their point it's just not worth the time or energy. So.
And here's the thing too. We all want to make a better country. Okay, we all have the same goal, but the bottom line is we all get thrown under the bus basically because we don't have the same opinion and we don't want to get there the same way. So now we're drawn out as the evil, the great evil, but it's not that way.
So neither of you feel that you are deplorable?
We take that as a badge of honor.
The way that's been thrown
my
at
next tattoo.
I'm sorry, what was that, Andy?
It's the next tattoo.
And there you go. There you go.
So like that, when did both of you, when did you get on board with candidate Trump? Was it from the moment of the announcement or somewhere along during the primary race? How did that flow?
Well, with me, it was when he made, because he had been throwing this around for years. You heard him say it before, and in my opinion, I always felt that we needed an outside businessman to get in there and really, drain the swamp, as the cliche says. Because Washington is nothing but insiders. It's incestuous, as what I can say, and nobody wants to leave their little mound of power behind. So he's going in there. He's not collecting a salary. He doesn't care. And he doesn't care what you think about him. He's going to clean things up. And you know what? He's doing it. I mean, the economy's showing it. The stock market's showing it. Jobs are going up. Jobs amongst minorities is booming. Everything is going along just like he said. But if you listen to the media, it's Armageddon, and I quote, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But yet that's not what reality is.
Buddy, what about you? When did you get on board with Trump?
Honestly, when I started looking at the candidates, I looked him up immediately because I knew in the past he had brought up, well, if I were president. So I literally jumped on board from day one. I did a bunch of research. I found out that this guy does not lose. He says and does everything as he promises. If someone says you can't do it, he just goes out and does it anyway. If you look at some of the buildings in the ice rink story that he created, couldn't be done. He found a way to do it. And that's the kind of a person that we need leading our country right now. We need a guy who's going to make deals. That's what the president's job is. Go shake hands. Let's make some deals. Leave all the politics garbage to, Congress and Senate and all those other people. So literally he's probably, I didn't ever lose faith with him throughout the entire campaign, whatever garbage was thrown out there. So just right from day one. So
cool. So then, I heard a lot of people say in my trying to get people to come speak, a lot of people say that they voted for him and it was mostly a vote against their other options. But it sounds like no, you guys were. Oh, Trump is a great idea from the moment.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Right. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Clinton, but you know, even if it was Bernie Sanders who should have actually been in that seat, my
agree
opinion,
with
I would have still voted for Trump. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, then that's a good opportunity. You guys had asked what our political views were. So
Yes.
I was a Bernie guy.
oh, okay,
And
yeah.
in the main election, I voted for Hillary, but it was like, all right. And I toyed. I thought of, maybe I do want to just totally mix it up with Trump. Maybe I do want to do that, but in the end, I didn't. So, Appio, do you?
Well,
Same
well,
thing.
you
I
got
was actually
you
Bernie
get
guy
another
also.
chance in 3 years.
Right, exactly. Yes, that's the nice thing about elections. You have
Exactly.
the mid-cycle election, and then you have the other election that
Yep.
comes up. But
Yep.
yeah, I too was actually a Bernie guy, big time. And yeah, I had many of the same opinions that were expressed about how he was treated, how like there's an entire mechanism and all kinds of just dirty tricks that were going on behind the scenes.
Well,
And so I'm like, you know what? But at the same time, I was. The big reason why I wound up voting against Trump, I did vote for Hillary, not enthusiastically, not at all like I was like, oh, I have to do this because we need a woman president or whatever. No, for me, it was more about, okay, I understand a lot of the things that are being said, and I can actually appreciate a lot of the things that are being said because he's actually expressing many sentiments which are being shared in many living rooms across the country. It's not like this isn't stuff that's not being said. It's just and it's not being aired openly. It's not being shared openly. And ultimately, the way I see it is that those ideas and those opinions were being shared more out of frustration than because anybody is actually a racist or anything along those lines. And I'm talking about the people who have supported Trump. The man himself, I personally, and this is just strictly me speaking for me, I saw him as being our version of Hitler. But again, you needing an outsider to help drain the swamp, as you said, I could also appreciate that perspective as well.
Well, let me. Since you brought Hitler up, I got to ask you a question.
For sure.
What's the difference between Hitler and Trump? The difference is that he is democratically elected, and he can be democratically unelected in 3 years. Okay, whereas Hitler, there was, you would have the brown shirts at your door if you said anything wrong.
Exactly.
So I hate that analogy because there is no connection whatsoever.
Right, and it's more so, the analogy is more so from the perspective of the things that were being said, vilifying different groups and so forth.
Right.
That's what I really disagreed with. And yes, Hitler actually was democratically elected. Well, kind of, sort of. His party really gained a big majority, and they gained a big enough majority in the German parliament that he was invited to become the prime minister, and that's when the ball really started rolling. So,
right. But he then became a dictator, which could never happen here. I mean, our system just
we
doesn't
won't
work.
tolerate it. We simply
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So that whole connection to Hitler is really so bogus. Let's move on.
Partial. Yeah, exactly.
So let's get into some positives of this because I do want to.
Absolutely.
I feel like Trump supporters don't have a chance to be proud without.
I'm proud. I don't care.
All right, great. Well, good. So, Tony, what are you proudest or happiest about most regarding what the administration has accomplished in its first year?
The stock market's broken every record since the beginning of time. Bonuses are going out to employees out of so many corporations, from AT&T. In fact, Harley-Davidson in Scottsdale just announced that every employee that's been an employee for over 6 months is getting a $2,000 bonus, and every employee that's been an employee up to 6 months is getting a $1,000 bonus. That's a lot of people getting $1,000 and $2,000 bonuses. Can anybody tell me when that's ever happened in the past? Pick a date, ever. So everybody's 401k is blowing up. Minority jobs are going through the roof. Jobs in general are going through the roof. And I'm not talking about minimum wage jobs. I'm talking about real jobs. So during Christmas, retail has the best year in ages. I mean, these are all, who can tell me what, whenever this has happened before. And auto manufacturers, they're bringing all their auto manufacturing back to the U.S. It's because they're getting to keep their money. It's not the government's money. It's your money. It's my money. So when these people say, oh, no, how are you going to pay for those tax cuts? Well, no, it's my money. How are you going to cut your budget to fit into what needs to be done? If I don't have enough money, I cut my budget. I don't say, well, how am I going to pay for this cut? It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yep. Cool.
So the federal government needs to get smaller. It's not how you're going to pay for it. It's how are you going to fit into the money I'm going to give you.
Yeah. Because even though I don't approve of some of the things, I recognize the twisted evil genius of putting people in charge of departments of the government that are against that department to force it small. I'm like, wow.
Exactly. You get it.
Yeah. Right.
Buddy, it looks like you want to say something also.
I lost his audio.
Oh, buddy,
we lost your audio, buddy.
I think it's us. Yeah. You come unplugged with your excitement, perhaps.
Nope. Got nothing.
Oh, we'll keep working on it. Uh-oh. Okay. Keep testing, and if you break in, we're okay.
I believe Tony has done something to monopolize the conversation. That's my prediction.
Talk about evil genius.
I called Trump, and he took care of it.
So
genius.
So Tony, let me get the flip side. What are you most disappointed in or by in the past year when it comes to the White House?
What I'm really disappointed in is how, and I don't know if it's in the White House, but it's in the inability of the left to even make even the smallest effort to try to come across with something. Like, look, they're going to shut down the government now because they refuse to even work on a deal between the wall and the immigrants. You can't get anything accomplished if you don't. I hear. Yep, I got
buddy,
you.
You're back,
buddy.
You're back.
Oh, good.
Yep.
I don't know what that was about.
The only way you're going to get somewhere is to sit down and negotiate. But they don't want to negotiate. It's a one-sided street. They want what they want, and I just don't understand it. I really don't.
So do you is the wall on the southern border, is that a big issue for you? Is that something that drew you to the campaign?
Absolutely, because you look at all the, and again, we have to differentiate between legal immigrants and illegal immigrants. My entire family, I'm first generation, like we talked about, Andy, right? I'm first generation, okay? So I know about immigrants. My whole family is immigrants, okay? But when I'm told that I'm an idiot because I think there's a difference between legal and illegal immigrants. Well, there's the problem. There's the problem. You can't have people coming across the border illegally. And I don't care if you're coming from Canada. I don't care if you're coming from Ireland, Mexico. It doesn't matter. Illegal is illegal. Period. And we're getting diseases now that we never had we've eliminated in this country. They're coming back. Because people are coming across the border without vaccines, without, this has to stop.
Great.
This has to stop.
So, buddy, now that you're back, do you? Let's see. What are you proudest about? What do you think is the biggest accomplishment that you're happiest with in the past year?
Well, I mean, so many things. I'll just narrow it down to this. When I talked to people, when they were picking their.
Oh no.
Buddy, we lost you again.
Oh no.
Yeah, you good.
Oh, wait, you're back. Nope.
No.
No.
Yeah,
We'll keep at it.
There's some bad connection.
It was working fine before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Hillary's up to something.
No, right, buddy's in New Hampshire. That's a safe zone.
We'll find.
Don't get me started on safe zones.
Keep at it, buddy. We'll let you break in and take some time as soon as you're able to break in.
Now he's muted. He's muted here.
Here, let's go ahead and unmute
All right.
him. There you go.
Now I hear you again, buddy.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, there
Yeah.
we go.
Oh,
All
yeah,
right.
there you go.
Now the pressure's really on. This is gonna.
I just unplugged my my mic. I'm just going to use the.
Yeah, you sound fine. It's okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, still
So-
good audio.
But is what I was saying is when I talk to people about voting, I would explain to them that, any president that can do half of what they promise is worthy of that vote. Because very rarely do people get half of everything done that they plan to try to accomplish. And clearly, in his first year alone, I think he's done well beyond that 50% of what he's promised to do. He hasn't, the wall obviously hasn't been done, but there's going to be fighting, back and forth between him and the rest of the world, never mind our own Congress, for that. But the way I look at it right now, you can't drive down a street without seeing a help wanted or a now hiring or now accepting applications. You can't drive down the street without seeing people with shopping bags in their hands. You can't, and count the number of American flags that you now see on people's cars and trucks, and people that are hanging flags. In New Hampshire, it's because I'm a counter. I count everything. So it's just crazy to see the number of people that are actually supporting that American flag. And of course, that represents the totality of everything in our country, including our president. And it usually starts with our president. So, I'm very happy with what he's done so far. So
Cool. Is there something that you're disappointed that hasn't been addressed or wasn't addressed in the way you had hoped, or?
I can't really say I'm disappointed in anything. Only because, there's things that I know he said he wouldn't promise to do, but, like the whole Clinton scandal and locking her up and stuff like that. But the only thing is I do wish, of course we don't know this or not, but if he would be seeking justice for all of the injustice, like the Haiti thing that, that's still lurking. Why is Haiti still in a mess after all these years? Those are things I would, as our president, he should be looking into and doing more for. But other than that, I don't really have any issues against him per se. So,
Cool. All right. So now I'm gonna just dive into my list of topics. Unless Appio, if you have anything top of mind.
Actually, I'm just I'm just taking it all in because I like to kind of take the big picture perspective and look at, the positive sides of everything. In spite of some of my own personal feelings, I love to be able to sit back and listen and take it in because, yeah, it's just it's part of what you said earlier, buddy, about understanding. I am big about having that conversation and getting to that place of understanding.
And the only way to get there is to have a conversation.
Yeah. And
Yep.
sometimes you got to listen in order to be able to have that conversation. So I'm right now in the listening phase.
So from my point of view, the biggest issue that has covered President Trump since before he was elected all through election is the whole Russia investigation and the many different flavors of that. So do you guys think there's anything there in the Russian meddling do you believe that the Russians somehow meddled in our election to kind of throw things off or whatever their purpose might have been?
The Russians are always trying to do something, but nothing that they have. No, there's nothing there. There's no there, as they say. There's more. There was more Russian collusion with Obama telling the Russian, "I'll be able to do more after the election," when it was caught on a hot mic, than there's ever been done here. So,
Buddy?
I don't really know. I honestly don't really care because there's collusion with every country. The Clintons did that with China. I think even one of the Bushes did it with China. There's always going to be that theory, that conspiracy, if you will. Did it happen? I don't know. If it did happen, I still wouldn't care because it's really irrelevant.
well, they've been at it for over a year, and there's still no there.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
people in the administration have pled guilty. Like I know Mike Flynn has pled guilty.
But that was nothing to. If you
With
really
Trump
look
himself.
at that, correct.
Right.
That had
Right.
nothing to do with Trump himself.
No, right. So yeah, and I guess that maybe that's the fine line that he's making. I,
Right.
Donald Trump, am not being investigated, but it's his
Right.
campaign. So is that kind of his past? So even if staff members were, if they admit or if they're convicted of doing something illegal, it's like, well, it wasn't him.
And I you know what? Now I actually forget now what Flynn is actually convicted for, but it was actually. I lost my train of thought. I apologize, but
Okay.
I do that all the
really
time. So you're good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tell you, it sucks getting old.
Yeah. Big time.
but it really had nothing to do with the campaign itself. You know, I know that on one of the morning shows, they were all giddy. You know, we got Trump. She's throwing a card in the air. No, it nothing. You're wrong. And then the reporter himself got in trouble because he misreported the reality of it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Cool.
But Flynn
there's no
did plead
there there.
guilty.
Yes, he
Flynn-
did.
He
Yeah.
did plead guilty to lying to the FBI. But I think the
That's
big
right.
scandal is-
He pled guilty to lying to the FBI.
right.
That's
So,
it.
but
Right.
the thing that they're trying to do is they're trying to say that all these people that came in for Trump are somehow tied to Trump 6, 8, even a year prior to the actual election. So whatever happens during that election, if they lied to him and his people, that's really not on Trump. That's on the integrity of those people that are lying. And the only one who's going to know the actual truth is the person who's lying. And they will get caught. And like Flynn, he'll be relieved of duty and be sent down the road cleaning the swamp. So
Right.
Okay, great. So
Right.
let me just kind of put this together and not put words in your mouth, but make sure I get it. As people plead guilty, if people are convicted, it's those individuals as opposed to a Trump-driven, let's get together with Russia and make stuff happen.
Right.
It's one thing if President Trump is saying, hey, go over there, talk to these guys for me, well, then that's, in my opinion, obviously wrong. But if people are doing it behind his back, and then Flynn even lied to, Pence as well. When he sat down
Right.
and had those conversations, he lied to their faces. And then as soon as they realized that there's more and more lies coming out, the facts are actually coming out, he said, take a hike, And in my opinion, that takes, some intestinal fortitude, to do something like that, to admit I hired the wrong guy. Now I'm sending him down the road. So,
Which is
it's interesting.
exactly what happened.
Yeah, and it's interesting you should bring that up because as I admit that sometimes the news gets so toxic, I just tune it out. But what I do is I tend to read the news as opposed to watch the news because then it's like, okay, it tends to be a little bit more factual. There's a lot less opinion that's being shared and so forth. And at least the pattern that I seem to see emerging as far as Trump's management style is that while he does insist on loyalty, he's always done that. That's the reason why his company has never been taken public or anything like that. He likes to run a tight ship. But at least as far as his management style, it seems to me, based off of what I have read and the statements coming from the people around him, is that he gives them a lot of autonomy to do what he has asked them to do.
Yes.
How they go about it, the decisions that they make. Trump cares more about the results than the following, dictating every single little thing. He's not a micro.
Which is a good leader. You put someone in place to do their job. You tell them what you want them to do, and then you let them do their job. You don't want to if you're micromanaging their job, why do you have them there in the first place?
Sure.
So is that the biggest difference from being a businessman as opposed to a politician?
I believe so.
I believe so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because even with the war, Obama was micromanaging that whole thing, and look what happened there. That was a complete and utter disaster. And now look, Trump comes in. You're the general. Go do your job. And look at ISIS now. It barely exists. We just beat them into oblivion. Of course, you don't hear much about it on CNN. But the reality is they're just a minor shadow of what they were a year ago. It's incredible.
Yeah. So let's move on to how he's dealt with North Korea.
Okay.
And his tweets, and again, the media.
Absolutely.
Version nuclear war, it's horrible. But now boy, did it work? Again, was this an act of genius that the rest of the world saw as horrible?
Look, Korea is at the table with North Korea is at the table with South Korea.
Yep.
When have you ever seen that in your lifetime? Okay? Because these people only understand force. They will negotiate with you forever, and then they'll do whatever they want, because negotiation to them is just a stalling tactic. But when now they have a guy in place that says, you mess with me, I'm going to take you out. All of a sudden, oh, crap, he's not kidding, you know? And all of a sudden, Korea and North Korea and South Korea are at the table negotiating.
Even if they're negotiating for an Olympic, you know, being able to have the Olympics, it's a negotiation.
Start with the small stuff, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, start somewhere.
Start with, and I already knew that was the only way, because even with a lot of the Arabic countries, negotiating to them is just a means of getting their own way. They will tell you whatever you want to hear. They will make whatever deals you want, but then they won't adhere to them. They do what they want, because negotiation is just a tactic to keep you at bay. And I mean, this is forever. I mean, it's been proven over and over again. And now Trump comes in and says, no, we're not negotiating. This is what's going to happen. You know, and all of a sudden, they're at the table. Mm-hmm. Amazing, isn't it? You know.
So can that? So I'll give credit that, like, that style seems to be working in that place. But it doesn't look like he had. It doesn't look like to me that he has a different style. He treats our allies and friends almost as abrasive.
And I have no problem with that.
Okay.
You know, because at least here's the thing. You know where he stands. There's no bullshit. You know where he stands. When you have a conversation with Trump, you know if he tells you something, this is not a parlor trick. We're not having cocktails here. This is the real deal.
Well, he's a New Yorker. You know, you always know.
There you go. Exactly. You know? Exactly right.
So I don't know, the controversy of the day of the week, the alleged shithole comments. You know, does that matter to you? Are there ways of speaking that the president shouldn't have or should have?
First of all, it's a private meeting, okay? And who comes out and says this? That now several other people at the meeting have said that was not said that way. So, in my opinion, yeah, he might have said something like that, but that is such minor crap. It's ridiculous. And second of all, have you been there? It is a shithole, right? It's not a reflection on the people. It's a reflection on the government. You know, the
conditions in the country.
On the conditions, yeah. Exactly. Thank you.
And those conditions go back to the Clinton Foundation.
Very much so. Yes.
All of that money has been taken. Yes. Children have been pulled out of there. People have been killed that have tried to boost the economy and bring business there, have been denied. They're keeping it that way for a reason. Whatever, I have no clue, because Haiti has always been an ally, if you will. They've always helped us. They've always, been there for us. And, we've swapped back and forth with them. Mm-hmm. It is a shithole, unfortunately. And there's a laundry list of other places, but that's a place that shouldn't be, because we donated billions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation and it collapsed. But where did all the money go?
Follow the money.
They built one hospital completely on the other side of the island, completely away from everything that happened. That one hospital, all that money, where did everything go? It's very disappointing. So the one thing I admire about President Trump is this: if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, he's going to call it a duck. That's just the reality. And I would rather have a man who's going to step up and talk in whatever words or verbiage he chooses to use, and be honest and for the most part, transparent as he can be, versus hiding behind his scholarly dialect like President Obama.
Yes.
I would just rather have somebody up in your face and saying, this is how it is, and tough nuts if you don't like it.
It's like the difference between an honest man and a snake oil salesman. The snake oil salesman sounds wonderful. He makes you feel wonderful. But in the end, your pockets are empty and he's out of town.
Right.
So the snake oil salesman, is that kind of how you see all politicians, or like?
That's how I see most politicians, yeah.
And does it,
but Obama was the king of the snake oil salesman.
So let me ask you this then. Now, this is to both of you. Would you say all politicians, as in Republican and Democrat, or regardless of political party, or is it specific to Democrats?
No, I see all of them.
All of them.
Okay.
They're
all. Every single.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get where you are there without shaking hands, making deals behind other people's backs.
Mm-hmm.
That and in my opinion, if you have to, lie to one, steal to the other to make yourself look good to this one person, that's just, in my opinion, is
and that's what I like about Trump. He doesn't care what you think about him. He says, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And he has been hitting that hit list one at a time all the way down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Just like he said he was going to do.
Yeah, and I have to say that as I've watched, it's like I have to say props to the guy, because he's like I've said I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it. He may get a lot of blowback, he may get a lot of resistance from all kinds of corners, lots of criticism and so forth. But again, I may not have supported him, but I have to sit back and it's like, okay, well, you did say you were going to do that. So.
And he did. But, for example, how many politicians that ran for president have said they're going to move the American embassy to Jerusalem? Clinton, or the first.
A laundry list of them.
There's a whole huge list of them. When they got in there, nope, not going to happen. Well, he said he was going to do it, and guess what? It's happening.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, you said Trump doesn't care about what people think about him, but I kind of see like the opposite of that. So I want to ask about that, because it's like he watches TV. Like Twitter, he seems to really care about what people think.
I love Twitter.
Well,
so
no.
If
you look at the responses he's getting on Twitter, there's a lot of negative feedback on a lot of those.
No, but
okay? But yet, it's ridiculous when you see some of these feedbacks that people give them, because I get them every morning and I go through them. Okay.
Yeah.
And
well, he's not reading that. I mean, what he sends out on Twitter is often seems like he's taken something personally from a news report or a politician. And
it's not that he's. I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy. I interrupted. I apologize.
All right. I think as a man, personally, I think he has a lot of feelings toward when people say stuff about his manhood, if you will, his honor, his understanding, all that. As a president, I don't think he gives any right. I don't think he cares about anything. He's just like, listen, this is my job. I have to do my job, and I don't care if you ridicule it. But I think when you attack him personally, like the Sun or Melania's dress, or like the number of agents that has to be hired to follow.
They always go to personal
I think that affects him, because that would affect me. I mean, that would affect anybody. When you attack somebody's character, that's one thing. If you're attacking because he's doing his job, I don't think he cares about that a bit. So I think you're right, Andy. I think it's kind of like a split, if you will.
All right, great. No, I appreciate that differentiation. So that's why I want to bring it up. And cool.
But that, in my opinion, is always where the left does go. They always go to personal attacks. Like he's orange, or it's all. What does that have to do with the job he's doing? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got to see. I mean, the president is the king of nickname making for anyone that turns against him. So,
he'll do that.
Sloppy Steve out there, right?
It's like, here's a taste of your medicine. Talking about.
Well, I think he's doing, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I think that is a reflection of what he gets 1,000 times over. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he gets called 10,000 names in a day. So today is your day. I'm going to give you this name.
So I just want to build off of that because you've mentioned Twitter, and everybody attacks him for Twitter. But let it be known, and I'm telling you right now, he just set the precedence. He just lifted the bar on campaigning using social media. So in 4 years, when his term is ended and he's running again, I guarantee you will see every politician on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere doing their campaign. Because when it comes from their mouth personally, 24/7, it's just it means more than reading it in an article or getting it from their agent or from their spokesperson.
Through the filter.
Right, so he set a whole new standard for campaigning, and you'll see it'll change the entire way we listen to campaigns now.
And do you think that's a positive or a negative? And if all campaigns go this route,
if I hear it from his mouth versus second, third hand, or a reporter that wants to twist it to make it better than what it is or worse than what it actually is. I think that it's just a positive. I think that coming from your mouth, if you say you're going to do this for me, and I hear it straight from your lips versus, the third or fourth person down the line, you doubt it. But as soon as someone says it face to face to you, you have more trust in it.
And it puts them. I mean, it puts a much bigger burden on them to
absolutely
actually do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you said you were going to do it, it wasn't the reporter said that you were going to do it. You said you were going to do it.
Holds
so now
more
it's
weight.
on you. On you now.
So do you think there are other ways that Trump has changed either the presidency in particular or politics in general that we just won't go back another way?
I think he's made a better connection with the people than any other president ever before.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it.
Do you think we're kind of entering an era of there no more career politicians? If Trump wins re-election or whoever's next
I
would hope so. Yeah, I'm not a fan of career politicians, so for any side.
Our forefathers didn't design a system to be you're supposed to go in, do your civil service, and then go back to your job or your farm or whatever. It wasn't, you're not supposed to have one term and then get a pension for the rest of your life. That's all crap.
It's interesting, Tony, because I have to say that I have spoken to people from across the entire political spectrum, and that is one area where every single person tends to agree.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are; they all agree on that particular.
But then people keep voting for the person that they vote.
Exactly.
Like we need to switch up. I'm going to vote for your state. You vote for my state, and then that's the only way to clear it all out.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's so funny because I've actually said this before, Andy, on previous shows where when I look at, and this is just me kind of like going, I don't get political too often, but every once in a while I'll also
go ahead.
share that opinion, and that is, since I've traveled extensively to many different countries, and I watch the politics in different countries and so forth. It's like, for me, it's like the only difference between a campaign contribution and a bribe is the paperwork. Here, we've elevated it to an art form because we have paperwork involved. As long as you file the paperwork, it's not a bribe at all. But the result is the same.
Absolutely. I give you a contribution, and you take care of what I'm doing over here.
Yeah.
Which is another thing where because Trump didn't, he funded his whole campaign himself. That was all his own money on the line. Think about that. I mean, he's not taking a salary. He's being beaten up every day by the media. He self-funded his campaign. He's taken no money for salary. So he's not gaining anything.
Well, I would dispute that.
Well, what do you mean? Okay.
Just right. The hotels, the golf courses, like the Trump name is booming because he's president.
But so are every other business. I mean, every other business is booming right now. So, that's a tough one.
If the economy took all right. So, do you think it matters if foreign governments, if other people are trying to cozy up with America by renting all their ballrooms at a Trump hotel or playing golf all week or buying memberships? Is that another?
That's happening at every hotel everywhere. But
people have always rented from Trump Towers and Trump hotels. That's
Always.
the place to go. That's where all the big money goes. That's
Right.
that's been since day when he built his first. So I don't see the difference
It's more about the
There's no
brand
difference.
as it
as
is
opposed-
now. It's like,
Right.
I mean, he has rooms that are filled with gold and stuff. Like, which leader doesn't want to stay there in a place like that, you know? So I don't know. I don't know the numbers if his income or whatever his investments have increased dramatically, but I just know that people have always gone to Trump's buildings.
He separated himself from all of those properties. That's
Absolutely.
all. It's all in his kids now. I mean, it's still family. I get it.
Right. Yeah. The trust didn't happen.
But wait a minute. But Clinton got paid $500,000 to go give a speech. One speech. Nobody said a word about that. That seems fine, you know.
Well,
and that's
well, that's like
that's
yeah. No one,
exactly.
I haven't heard people complain about money that Trump earned until he was president. Now it's like is it different? Would it matter to you if, let's say, the leader of North Korea that we're challenged with just
Sure.
sends a check in the mail and becomes a member at Mar-a-Lago? Like, would anyone
If
care?
it's a free membership, I have an issue with it. If he's a paid member,
Right.
I'm okay with it.
I
Bring
have
that
no
money
problem
to
with
America.
it. Right? Right. You're exactly right.
Hey.
Yeah, I want to get to there was another buzzword all through the campaign, and Trump even used it himself about the pivot to being presidential, and he would kind of like make fun of that, or look, now I'm presidential. And so is that just gone forever? Whatever even that, I'm not even sure what that meant. But
I think
hear about that?
Trump is,
How
Trump
that
is
comes
Trump.
off?
Trump is Trump. There is no line between presidential and business leader. He's what you see is what you get. Like it, you don't like it. This is it.
I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the whole
I
thing.
don't think I'm speaking out of school, because you've all seen it yourself. I mean, he is who he is.
Right.
But
I don't think the whole pivot thing is I took it more as sarcasm, because people even today they talk about, now that he has all this power. Actually, he had more power when he wasn't president. He wasn't handcuffed to rules and boundaries and having to ask for permission or get, yes ma'ams and no sirs.
Right.
When
That was the
as
lesson.
a billionaire, you just do what you want to do because who's going to stop you? So I think that whole pivot thing was more sarcasm and a joke, than it was actually in its full context, if you will. So.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
And so I mean, you're both enthusiastically on his side, have been since day one. Think his approach is working, as you're seeing.
It was a much needed change to the way things were done.
Cool. So there's no doubt that re-election time, you're still with him. You hope for more.
Well, we're 3 years away, so saying that now is a little early. But if the election was today, I'm there 100%.
Okay. All right. So well, since you phrase it that way, so there. I don't want to make up hypothetical situations, but you're not so blindly because he's the president supporting him. He could lose you over the 3 years.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I'm not a blind follower. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to vote for you depending on your job performance. Okay, if your job performance is the way it is as of right now, I'm in. If you become a Hillary, I'm out.
So is there something top of mind that you really want to see get done over the next 3 years to make you feel like, wow, yeah, he really kept the promise and took the actions that I feel he committed to?
I would like to see all of our jobs come back to America. But more importantly, I would like to see our farming come back to America. We closed down thousands of farms across the country, in the past however many years, and then whatever we did grow, we were sending out. And then we were buying food from other countries that wasn't even the same quality as what we have done. We can feed our own here. We have all of our own everything, so I would like to bring back and really thrive on us sustaining our own self through our own food source, our own energy source, not bringing stuff down from Canada or whatever, just being more self-sufficient and having people, and still be like the 911 of the world, protecting everybody, serving everybody, all that other stuff. I'm not saying get away from helping people, but
We
just
have
to be more reliant on ourselves.
Is there a differentiate that does it matter, like American families, small farms, or the corporate farms taking over? Is that a line that matters to you?
No, because it's all money. Corporate farms still have to hire people to work. And, and I honestly look for stuff made in the USA before I'll buy anything from any other country, regardless of, the price. So, if I can find like cotton white t-shirts that I wear one every single day under 2 or 3 other shirts, you know what I mean? If I can find those made in America, I'll buy those. I'll spend the extra $2 or $3 or $5. So it doesn't matter if it's corporate or if it's mom and pop, as long as, the food is grown here under our regulations, and we are providing for how many homeless people are there that need food? How many people that go to bed without dinner? Doing all that in our own country, it would be unstoppable, as far as nobody going hungry anymore. So
there's still more to do about putting America first, taking care of our own.
Yeah, he still has a few things he can do. Yeah.
Yeah. And putting America first is not a selfish thing, because every country needs to take care of their own first. It's not that we don't want to bring people in. It's that we want to be able to take care of our own. Then we can take care of the world. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting because there was a proverb. I don't know the origin of the proverb, but I used to hear it a lot when I was growing up, and that is, you can't draw water from an empty well. To the point that both of you have made.
Exactly.
When you take care of yourself first, you then put yourself in a better position to be able to give and serve and help.
Exactly. So I mean, I hear this whole put America first thing as racist, as this, as Nazism, because that's what the Nazis said. But it's got nothing to do with that. You have to take care of yourself, take care of your own, and then it puts you in a position to take care of others. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that I can absolutely jump on board with.
Yeah.
All right. What comes to top of mind for both you guys when I say fake news?
CNN.
All of them.
Oh yeah, CNN.
They're
But
all driven.
he said top of mind.
So have
We
you
go
always
downhill from there.
have you always felt that, or is it
Always.
only in coverage of Trump, or have you just always, the media has just been
Always.
I think
I used to scream at the TV.
I think the media made a turning point somewhere after the Reagan administration. I think everything started to become more BS, and just tell the people what they want to hear, or the complete opposite. Oh, it's a tragedy. I don't think people are reporting the news the way it was meant to be. Using the First Amendment was supposed to protect us from our government, knowing what our government was doing, having the insight. Now there's all kinds of gag orders that have been placed, through different administrations. Oh, you can't talk about this, or don't mention that, or, so I don't trust any of the media. So when I read news sources, I watch CNN, I watch Nesson, I watch Fox, then I go to Facebook and I read Conservative Times, and I read the Republic, and I go through and I read everything on from far left to far right, just to see, and then I kind of try to gather my own conclusion into the hodgepodge of everything that I just read. So I say all of them are just awful.
Yeah, I do think the most dangerous thing, and again, it gets attributed to the extreme left and right, that the most dangerous thing is for someone to get all your news comes from one source.
Terrible.
Agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
Terrible. You got to watch everything. And so none of them should be slanted. First of all, you're supposed to be reporting the news, not your opinion. You should be reporting the news.
Facts.
And then, but they're not. Everybody's reporting opinion, and then you have to kind of try to figure out yourself. And if you don't listen to multitudes of sources, you become indoctrinated into this is what's really going on. But it's not. You have to listen to everything.
Exactly. And be willing to entertain points of view that may
Absolutely.
differ from your own. I mean,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
yeah, the only time that a mind works is when it's, minds are like parachutes. They work best when open.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Great analogy. Yep.
So buddy, I want to give you a chance with a question here, just because we lost you for a bit. So before we lose you again,
Okay.
what would you like most people to know about Trump supporters? Because we talked about you didn't feel like you could profess your views and without being called names and stuff. So what do you want people to know?
That we made the best decision based on the totality of circumstances that our country was going through, whether it was all the scandals and the corruption, or whether it was, fuel or cost of groceries, or like just everything. I think everything was, we need an extreme person to take care of some pretty extreme things that were going on. And I think it's worked out great so far. So
cool. Tony?
I nailed it. I mean, things were going in such the wrong direction, and every election was just getting worse and worse and worse. And, Trump comes along and says, I'm going to drain the swamp, and he didn't even like that phrase at first, but it took off, and he's doing everything he said. And all I ask from somebody I elect is say what you're going to do and do what you say. And that's exactly what he's doing. And even with the huge tsunami of backlash from the media, because that's where it's coming from. It's from the media. If you heard that news conference today that his doctor was on, I don't know if you guys saw it. Every question: is he capable?
Yeah.
Is he suited for duty? Is it? He kept saying he's healthy, he's fine. Don't worry. Oh no, but
His
what about
mind
this?
is working just okay.
Yeah, oh my, here's what I have to say to these people: let it go. Just relax, let it go. It'll all be fine. So.
Suddenly, echoes of a Disney song are coming.
Hey, I have kids, all right?
All right, yeah, I have grandkids, so I know.
So I don't know my Frozen characters' names, but I think, Olaf. So does Olaf have a MAGA hat on somewhere?
Hey, you gotta have a sense of humor, all right?
Absolutely, yes. Oh, that's great.
Cool. So is there anything else you think that? Well, again, so there must be something else. Since again, you've said you're hesitant to speak. You wanted to, I talked with you and made sure this wasn't an ambush. So kind of, what makes it seem kind of like unsafe, or like what is the backlash that you've experienced or imagined? Or
it's not that it's unsafe, because I really don't care. The issue is that whenever, and you can ask my wife, whenever we've been at bars, we're talking to people, we're having discussions, and I had the bartender say, you can't talk here about that. Everybody else is having their opinion, but because I have a different opinion, now I can't talk. That, and it's like, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe. No, I'm not. It's just that I have a different way of getting to the same place that you want to get to.
Right.
That's all. It's not complicated. I don't know if you remember the guy that got beaten up years ago. Can't we all just get along?
Rodney King.
Rodney King, yeah.
There you go. but it always immediately digresses into an attack. It's almost instantaneous. I think I told you, Andy, earlier, because I have family that's extremely left wing, so I have a lot of fun with that. But I had one of my family members put up a picture of 2 farm workers, and it said, that this country only survives, I forget what the exact verbiage was, with immigrants. Okay, and I did a 2-word response to that, okay? I said legal immigrants. That was the only thing I said. The deluge that came after that, you wouldn't believe the names that I was called after that, okay? And the best one of all wasn't even a name. So this girl comes on and says, "It amazes me that you believe there's a difference." A difference between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant is a humongous difference, because like I said, I come from a family of immigrants. There's a lot of work and pain and years that go through coming through the process, as opposed to sneaking across a border. And it doesn't matter which border you're sneaking across. So yes, there's a huge difference. So if you're amazed that you don't know the difference, that's on you. So that's my 2 cents on that.
And do you think are the attack? I mean, and because you mentioned you like to poke. Oh, I know I can poke you too, you left winger. And
again, but when I poke, I'm not poking with the name calling. I'm poking with an actual question.
Fact.
For example, that said, immigrants make this country, which I agree with. Okay, my remark was legal immigrants make this country, and I just said legal immigrants, and that just set them off. And it was you wouldn't believe, it was pages and pages and pages of how I was actually called an evil person, and I go, you don't even know me. How do you know I'm evil? Because all people like you are evil. Again, you don't know me, so
yeah.
I'm an evil person, and all people like me.
How do you take "like you" at that point when it's said?
My response at that point is always, and there it is. And there it is.
Cool. All right, so we're really kind of at the top of the hour. So I want to give each of you a chance to, if there's any kind of last thing you wanted to get out, what you're looking forward to, what you're worried about, how people treat you, how people treat the president, anything. Buddy?
I'm not really worried about anything. I just wish, much love and much respect goes around the country, no matter what we believe in, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what you're into. Our differences are actually what make our country great.
Exactly.
And every single person is a part of our heart and our soul, whether it's the guy in the mine, the guy in the factory, the guy driving in a police car, or the man in uniform that's defending our freedoms. I just wish for more understanding. And I hope that Trump can, in some way, kind of bring some of that to the forefront, whoever he hires or something. But yeah, I appreciate you having us on here. I'm thankful for that. So, thank you.
It's been my pleasure. It really has.
Truly.
Tony, anything you want to add or kind of sign off?
I just have to say, I really have to thank you for letting us have a forum where we can actually have a conversation. We had a great conversation, I think. I had a wonderful time.
It's been awesome.
I know that you guys are from a different political side than we are, but yet we all had a great time. We had a conversation, and nobody called anybody any names. We had a fantastic. Now, if we can get this right here to go nationwide, we got something. That's it.
But what channel would we be syndicated on? Like it's all fake. Where are we gonna go?
We need to start a new channel, the non-fake news channel. NFN, non-fake news.
I'll have a beer afterward.
Cool. So I want to thank Buddy, Tony, and also thank the other guy that was going to make it and decided not to, because I get it. I get it more now, even after talking to you two as well. So it was I'm really glad we had this idea and
yes.
went for it.
Great idea.
Thank you. Yes.
It's been
I'll tell you, I
fun.
was very leery about doing it, because the first thing I said to Kristen was, if this is going to be a bashing, I'm out, because I get enough of that every day.
Yep. And it is funny that, so it's the same mutual friend got me to Tony and Buddy, but you don't know each other. So
right.
That's really interesting to me.
No.
But
It's awesome.
I don't know why. But yeah, thank you for your honesty, your openness, and and at the core, everyone is asking for the same thing. And as you're pointing out, it's just different paths to
How we
get
get
there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
All paths are valid.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
you have a path over here. I have a path over here. And if we talk about it, then maybe we'll have a path right here that we can both go down the same road.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So,
I love that. We'll let that have that hang as the last comment. So thank you for joining us. Thank everyone for listening. And hopefully continue the comments and feedback wherever you're catching this. Post a comment, a review, shoot us an email, check out realmenfeel.org, visit us on Facebook. We'd love to have this conversation, another twist of a conversation. Tell us what you enjoyed, what you want us to tackle next. Tell us if we should have Tony and Buddy on and replace us as hosts for a while.
Wait a minute, I got it. You're fired.
All right.
There's the last one.
And on that note, good night.
Good night, guys.
Thank you for listening to Real Men Feel. Until next week, visit realmenfeel.org or the Real Men Feel Facebook group and share what you thought of this episode. Please give this podcast a review on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you are discovering Real Men Feel. Reach out to us at realmenfeel@gmail.com. Show us some love by visiting realmenfeel.org/swag or digitaltipjar.com/realmenfeel. Learn more about Andy Grant at theandygrant.com and Appio Hunter at appiohunter.com.